with the offensive line changes and shaking things up there a little bit for you guys?
Went fine. I don't think that was the issue. I thought Justin did some really good things. Thought he battled. We hadn't, this year, as far as I know, he hadn't played left tackle. When in the first game, I think he played right tackle. He moved Chubb over there, if my memory serves me correct. So I thought he really battled. And when Wyatt got in there, some at guard, there were some positive things to build off of. We're always trying at every position, trying to find the best mix of players that gives you the best chance to move the football and score points.
This defense is pretty good that you're about to face. So even though they're 2-6, what makes this defense so sound and so good?
Well, schematically, they do a nice job of from personnel groupings. So, you'll play some teams where, you have a pretty good idea what personnel groupings you're going to get. So if you're in, say, a pro set, you're going to get base defense. You're in 11 personnel or 3 receivers, you're going to get sub. Where this team will, they'll play base to your subgroups. They'll play nickel to your bigger personnel groups. So you have to just across the board from every formation, there's layers of preparation that go in to make sure when you have runs or protections in that you're set. So it's probably from an earlier preparation standpoint than it is once you get into the game, is to make sure that what you're calling, that you have answers for.
How does Von Miller's fit in all of that?
Oh, he's the number one cog. I mean, it's, you got to know where he's at all times because he can disrupt the game. He has for a number of years, so you got to be aware of where he's at. There's going to be times where we're going to have to block him. I mean, it's not every concept you can double him in the run game, and not every concept from a protection standpoint you can chip help or slide. So there's going to be times we're going to have to man up and be able to protect, and there's other times you're going to have to make sure that that you get bodies on him, and you make sure that you do that. And he's one of the elite guys, and it's obvious every team that you watch when they go against him. I mean, when you talk about players that get doubled or get chipped, 58 does.
So, just asking this to try to understand. How is it that after 4 hours of pregame rain, you come out and throw the ball the first 4 plays?
Well,
Is that just not deviating from the script that you guys wrote up?
well, some of it plays into what you have in mind, and some of it plays into, if you're going to be in the RPO world, sometimes that's where the ball goes. So that's the short answer of it, is that you've got run plays called up and the decisions you make to spit it on the perimeter. That's part of it.
When you have a first quarter like you guys did, where it's turnover, and all of a sudden you're down 17-0, how difficult, or how does that change the game plan that you guys have going in, and how discombobulating can that be, as an offensive staff and team when your whole game plan is having to change on the fly like that?
Well, when it's frustrating, yes. When you go into the game understanding when you put up how you have to win the game against anybody, and to not have that, to not start fast on the road, that's frustrating. I don't think, Jake, that it really changed our game plan any, because there really isn't anything different they were doing. There was nothing different about what they did. It was something we had done. So I think sometimes that to change anything, I wouldn't say we changed anything. We just needed to do it better and hang on to the ball. And that was probably as much as anything.
And what's your message to Nick Chubb, who obviously has been super reliable, but gone through these fumbles the last couple of games, and just what do you think of him moving forward?
Well, it hasn't been an issue for him in the past. So, like all of our players, or us as coaches, or an organization, everybody has a job to do, and Nick's a great player. It's just unfortunate the way it turned out in that game, for him, because no one's more conscientious, no one works harder. The same when it happens to any of our players, when it happens to Baker. No one is fighting to be prepared more than he is, and fighting with our receivers to be in the right spots. And so, and from a protection standpoint, so there's nothing to be said. Everybody understands it, and we do as well, that, you can't turn it over and win. I mean, that's the way it is. But again, it's it's not like I said, that hasn't been an issue for Nick. We don't expect it to be an issue. We expect to play every week, to play disciplined football and not turn it over. That's going to be our expectation this week. And, that was Sunday, and starting with Monday and then a day off and then Wednesday, we've moved on to the Broncos, I guess the best way to put it, which we have.
Is he the kind of guy you know will have some burning desire to, bounce back from that?
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's a great football player. He hasn't gotten to this point without being able to move on from setback. I mean, he's had more than a fumble here or there that set him back probably in the past, and he's overcome that.
What do you guys have to do to get better in the red zone? I mean, that's too broad a question, but they have a pretty good red zone defense, and that's not been a strength for you. So what do you do to get better?
Well, first off, if you're able to run the football, which we have been, I mean, that's the most difficult thing offensively to grasp is, I've been a lot of places where we haven't been able to run the football like we are here, and we're not accomplishing the goals that we set out so far, if that makes sense. So that's the first thing, be able to run the football, because if you can run the football, you give yourself a chance in the red zone to be able to score when you get down there. So that's the first thing. And then be able to protect and execute the route concept. I mean, there's really no, make sure you have a great plan and then make sure you execute once you get down there. I mean, there's not a magical potion that you're going to spray over it. It's hard work and being able to run the football.
Have you been part of teams before that had problems with turnovers, had problems with penalties, and then in the middle of the season were able to kind of course correct and eliminate those? Seems like that's a hard thing because it's not like you can make a substitution or a scheme change and fix it. It takes your entire team to come together to eliminate some of that stuff. Have you ever been a part of a team that's been able to accomplish that in the middle of the season before?
Sure. I don't think you ever expect to be undisciplined or turn it over. And that happens throughout a game. You don't expect, after it happened in the sequence we had the other night, I didn't expect us to, okay, you've turned it over 3 out of the first 7 plays. I didn't multiply that by 10 and say, hey, we're going to have 30 turnovers. So if that makes sense, I'm not trying to be a smart aleck. I'm just saying that there's all those sample sizes that say, when do you start, when do you stop? And the bottom line is it's stopped. And no matter what we've done previously has nothing to do with this Sunday. Just like a hitter in baseball, no matter what you've done up till this point, the last week, what matters is today. And for us, what matters is today and then this Sunday. And then we go to win that game because we can't do anything about what was then. From now on, it's really these last, we're at where we're at. We're at this point. So how many ever games we got left? These 9 games we've got left, all that matters is the 9 games and the stats we have moving forward, in my mind.
Chubb's ability to have a breakaway run almost every game, is that a random thing where you never know?
It has been wherever I've been. This has not been the norm. So it's something that you don't count on because you're playing at the highest level, and you look at the runs that he's had and the way our guys have blocked it up front. It always gives you a chance because you're always looking to be able to run the ball and you're always looking to be explosive.
Is it a case where you can kind of guess what strain of play it's going to be, where he's going to break one, or when I said is it a random thing? Is he the kind of guy who's even you're surprised sometimes when he pops out and
It's
gets
random.
one?
If we knew the ones that were going to be explosive, we'd call those more often.
Odell mentioned after the game that he wished that you guys would have given him more opportunities to maybe challenge Stephon Gilmore one-on-one, get him more involved, get him more chances. What's your reaction to that? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, it's I think every skill player wants the ball. This is my 30th year of coaching, I think, if my math's right, and I've never been anywhere where a Nick Chubb doesn't want the football, or Odell doesn't want the football, or Jarvis doesn't want the football, or whoever our skill players are. They want opportunities to showcase their skill set. So to me, that's normal. To me, that's nothing. That's not news. It's frustrating like anybody when you don't win, for all of us. So to me, that's not news. That's normal.
Chubb is leading NFL rushing yards per game right now. That alone, what kind of confidence does it give you that, again, if you can just clean up some of the mistakes, that you guys can really turn the corner offensively and be good on that side of the ball down the stretch?
Sure we can. It starts with, when everybody says it starts with running the football, we've been able to do that. So now, can you count on that every game? I don't know. But up until this point, I know I said on one end, we're gonna take the sample size moving forward, and what's happened's happened, right? I mean, now I'm kind of getting in the back, but we're hoping that we can carry that down the road in terms of continuing to run the football, because that will always give you a chance, because it takes a lot of the pressure off your quarterback.
Said that he had 3 of the weirdest plays he'll have with the, kicking the ball out of Nick's hand. He thought the hold on the screen was, he didn't love the call. Like a couple questions. One on the ball, on the fumble with Chubb where his foot goes up there. Is there anything that Joel could have possibly done to, I don't know, see that guy coming in his legs?
Well, first of all, Joel's an outstanding football player and one of our team leaders, and again, it's someone we count on in a lot of ways, not only as a player, and he carries the message for us as a staff. And sure, if you want to nitpick of did we anticipate the way that the defender played it, could he have gotten lower? All of those things in a split second, though. It's one of those crazy things. I don't know what to say. You can go, I don't know how many years I've been coaching and how often we've had a ball get knocked out by someone's foot. It doesn't happen. And unfortunately, it happened to us. And it's the way it goes. I don't know. I wish there was some other way I could say it.
How do you think he's played as a whole all year? I know
Joel?
Yeah.
Outstanding. Outstanding.
And again, yesterday has talked about feeling like, as a leader, as the quarterback, that he wants to help other people be accountable, that he wants to kind of take it upon himself to get everybody to stop making mistakes and things like that. As a second-year quarterback, is that taking too much responsibility onto his shoulders? Does he need to be making sure everybody's being held accountable?
I don't think so. I mean, most quarterbacks I've been around, it's important to them. They're the closest, other than coaches, tied to winning and losing. They are, and it's important to him. Not only his performance, but from a winning standpoint. So we're as good here as anywhere I've ever been in terms of our quarterbacks communicating with our skill guys. So that part of it has been outstanding, and it's going to continue to be to where we get it to where it's right, and that's the objective. It's not one coaching, playing. It's all of us getting it right, and it's important to him, and it's important when he takes a snap. I mean, it reflects on all of us, but I know he takes that personally, and he's an outstanding player, an outstanding competitor, and wants to win, and I think it's good for us. I really do.
Does he run through how Mayfield played at New England?
What's that?
Run through how Mayfield played it.
Run through how I thought he played? I thought he played good. I mean, really did. I mean, the one, the 2 fumbles, but the turnover wasn't, that was a shovel pass where we didn't work out like we'd hoped. So from then on in the rain, I thought he threw it really well. I mean, you wouldn't have looked at it and said, boy, we didn't give ourselves opportunities here. I thought he played really well. I thought he competed really well. And, and to be where we were and to battle back and get us to 17-10 and still have some opportunities there, I thought he played really well.
So on the shuttle, you mentioned that you wish he would have done something differently, or was that not his fault?
Oh, I don't think it's his fault. I mean, when you're having a shovel pass and you've got misdirection and, maybe the look was a little different than we had worked, and maybe we just didn't set out like we liked, just some things that way that just didn't work. And it stinks. I mean, I don't know how else to put it. I mean, it's just something that but one of those things you move on from, and then you figure out a way to not do those things again and find a way to beat the Broncos, because that's really, we're looking to be 1-0 this week. Everybody says it. That's last week, things that, just happened to happen to us last week, and that's the way it is.